What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some of the latest in updates, including analysts, what they're saying about this whole kind of scenario that's playing out, as well as what shorts are doing. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So pre-market, it is down slightly, 2.56%, but then again, any stock essentially running up like 30+%, you're going to have some profit taking. So I think today's pullback is rather normal. I'm going to go over some technicals and whatever else on some kind of key points to watch for today, but the market does open in roughly 10 minutes. One big data point for today though to watch for is Michigan consumer sentiment, and that one is coming out at 9 a.m. But there hasn't been any new news, just a lot of people speculating on everything, in fact. So I think the whole Uber deal is good. Analysts, this is what they're kind of saying. So Bank of America and Morgan Stanley, good old Adam Jonas, both said some comments. I'll leave this up here so you can kind of pause the video and read through it. Morgan Stanley definitely does feel like there is more strategic partnerships coming down the pipeline, as what he says. So it's kind of a weird 180 what Adam Jonas has done over the last 1 year. I do believe a lot of that has to do with their Morgan Stanley's connections with the PIF, as I've kind of done videos on. But Justin Post from Bank of America does seem fairly optimistic, despite you did have that $1 price target by John Murphy, again, Bank of America. So it's kind of weird that different analysts are reviewing the same type of deal, but nonetheless, I think the moral of the story is that this is a very positive thing for Lucid. Mark mentioned in that interview with Bloomberg as well that there is no real issue to ramp up. So I think this is ultimately a very good scenario. There's also a lot of other comments being said by Seeking Alpha analysts, so I'll leave this up here so you can kind of pause it and read through it again. But one thing that is causing still some people to be on edge is that reverse stock split. So I feel like in my video yesterday, I kind of narrowed it down and went over it in its entirety. But I think the interview on Bloomberg with Mark, he kind of alluded to a new deal. And so just so you're aware, technically a deal with, for instance, Uber, they wouldn't care that Lucid is considered a penny stock at all. But who does care is hedge funds. So potentially there is some other deal that's in the works with a hedge fund. That's just kind of the impression I did get. And plus, based on previous earnings, Mark did mention that there is several pending deals. So I don't think Uber is the culprit on why they care about it being a penny stock and why they need to do a reverse stock split. So there might be more deals, and plus, Mark did mention on August the 5th, there's going to be some big things coming. So there might be more partnerships, so don't be surprised about that. But one thing as well, when it comes down to the whole reverse stock split, I see a lot of people online saying, hey, I'm voting no. Vote no, everyone, vote no. As much as I completely agree, and I don't like reverse stock splits, even under these circumstances, which is very unique. Normally what happens is companies do reverse stock splits for kind of deficiency purposes to avoid delisting. This one's a kind of a unique circumstance, but to be fully fair, like the PIF owns 58%, 58.06%. All they need is greater than 50. So I don't think Lucid would be even proposing this if they knew that the PIF was going to just hit it down. So as much as I completely applaud a lot of individuals outright voicing their concerns, saying that no, like I don't want a reverse stock split, it's bad. I completely agree, but I think the story's already written. They're already doing a shareholder meeting, and I think technically it's just more of a formality. The PIF, in my opinion, is going to vote yes, and there's not anyone, like everyone, Vanguard, UBS, BlackRock, every single investor, retail investor, if everyone votes no, still is not enough to kind of sway the vote. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Looks like you see some crazy activity going on during the pre-market. But aside from that, though, during the pre-market, you are also seeing shorts increase 1.22 million shares. So they are trying their very best to kind of suppress it. A couple points to watch for today, though, is that 289. So that's going to be a strong support. Flip side, 322 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. And ideally, best case scenario, you'll kind of watch for it to close above that if you're going to see a continued push higher. And maybe you might see a continued push higher if more and more analysts come out. So we did get one negative rating by Bank of America, $1, and that's just because they didn't really know the details of the whole kind of Uber deal, because they want to know how much is Uber actually paying per vehicle. That's kind of where Bank of America is coming from. You did have a $7 price target given by Benchmark, so very good stuff as far as that. And I think I kind of looked at tip ranks. It somehow just updated a whole bunch of them that I have not covered in previous videos. So there was Lattenberg, Michael, who has a 39% success rating, did give a $5 buy. That was supposedly 8 days ago. I definitely do not remember ever seeing that. And then Cantor Fitzgerald, we already know about that. Evercore, that one is a new one, and that is a $2 hold. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of analysts will be giving ratings because of this, and then dependent on kind of how they play out. Let's say if they're $7, then you could see a nice push higher. But right now, a lot of them that were kind of issued yesterday were not officially posted to tip ranks. So that is going to not really help algorithmic trading. But aside from that, though, looking at the open interest, best case scenario is that Lucid does close above 350. So you have 78,000 at that 250, 22,000 at that 3. 37,000 at that 350. So market makers will have to cover this because they don't have a lot of volatile stocks such as Lucid in their inventory. So if they, like I said, if Lucid is able to, for whatever reason, close above 350 or let alone even 3, that could really cause a nice gamma squeeze going into the next week. So let me know your thoughts. This is kind of the latest in updates. Hopefully I did answer a lot of the questions as far as reverse stock splits, what analysts are saying, and everything else. If you do have any comments, questions, let me know in the comments below. I can definitely address that. And dependent on what shorts do today and how things play out, I can do a PM video as well. So kind of stay tuned for that. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.